Hello, this is Justin from AirNest, and today we're going to do a quick walkthrough of the Path tool in the AirNest app. And the purposes of this video is just to show you all the features and functionality of Path, and just to let you know up front, I'll be using this tool while connected to the DJI simulator. The weather here has been pretty awful with the wind, so for the purposes of this video I'm connected to the simulator. As far as the app is concerned, it's no different than a real flight, but when you see the video feed, it will be in my kitchen. As the weather starts to turn here in the spring, I'll try to redo this video so that you can see it with a real-world flight. And at the end of this video, I'll include a link to our Flying with AirNest video that shows video shot using AirNest by some of our users. So to get started, I just want to show you so first we'll start with camera settings. If we drag the top menu down, you can see here that we have multiple settings that we can mess with on the camera, including streaming bandwidth. This is how much data is streaming back to you, how much the bit rate is, streaming back to your iOS device. You can see here that the smaller the bit rate, the longer the range you'll typically get, but you might get compression artifacts of 4 megabits per second. And then you can go over to the drone settings across the top, and I can't stress how important these are. If you were to fly a path outside of radio range, when it's finished, it's going to go into an RTH or return to home function, and it's going to use this return to home altitude, and it will go up to that altitude right now set to 131 feet, and it will come home. So you want to make sure that you set this above any potential obstacles that you're flying nearby. So if you were to go around a building, you need to make sure it's going to go over that building before it comes home. So you need to have a general idea what that is, and you can just kind of drag this to set a higher return to home altitude. I'm just going to set it for 95 feet for the purposes of this video. You can also set an aircraft name. You can change your standard of measurement from imperial to metric if you choose to. And to get rid of this menu, you just drag it up and it's gone. So, now let's go ahead and get into Path, and you'll see a couple things here. First, we can move the map around, and we can zoom in or zoom out. And once we have the map where we want it, we can actually get started. So I'm just going to press Done, and now we're at the point where we just draw where we want the drone to go. So let's say I wanted to do a half circle around this green here. You can see I just draw it on there, and then the next step it says tap where you want the camera to point. This is really just a point of interest, so I can drop a pin anywhere along here, and it's going to yaw the aircraft as well as pitch the gimbal to keep the camera locked on that spot. So the next setting, once we hit done, is we can adjust the flight speed. We can do a starting altitude and ending altitude. So if we want to boom up shot or boom down, we can do that. And we can also set a manual gimbal control. If we turn this on, essentially the app will not control the gimbal, and you'll be able to manually control the gimbal using the RC controller. Now, one thing I do want to mention here is the flight speed. I'm going to hit start over so you can see it. For a path that's real tight curves like this one, you don't want to fly at a high speed. At a high speed, this is going to give you less than perfect video because the aircraft is going to be adjusting very aggressively. If we wanted to do something high speed, we would want to do more of a large sweep. And if we did something like this, we could get away with high speed because it's not going to make tight curves and tight turns. So let's go ahead and go back in here. Drop a point of interest. Set an altitude. I'm just going to set it low for the purposes of this. We'll drop the speed to 8. Next, we'll hit takeoff and upload. And what that's going to do is the aircraft is going to take off first. It's going to climb to about 3 to 5 feet. During this period, you can increase the altitude using the RC controller. You can see the altitude's up to 12 feet. And it's going to upload that flight plan as you just saw across the bottom. At this point, once it's done, you can press the start button. And if you do press the start button, it will just go ahead and take off and start flying that. You can see the gimbals moving. If we tap the video here, again, this is simulated, so you're just seeing my kitchen. And you can see it automatically started a video. Now I could stop that manually if I wanted, or I could just let it go. It will stop on its own. And you can see that the craft is slowly moving across the flight path at this point. Now there's some things that we can do. If we ever need to take manual control, we can flip the switch on the RC from F mode to P mode, or I can just hit start over. So if I hit start over, the aircraft's just going to stop where it's at. You can see that the flight path went away. So I'm going to draw again. It's going to automatically upload that flight path, and I can fly it. And one of the other things that I want to show you with this is if I use the right stick on the controller, I can actually, if I pull down on the right stick, I can slow the aircraft down, even stop it and go in reverse. If I let go, it's going to pick up right where it left off. It's going to change directions and follow the same thing, the same path. If I press up, it's going to actually speed up the aircraft. And if I let go, it will go back to the original speed. One of the things you need to be aware of is if you follow your path and you draw it, and the end of the path is, say, right in front of an obstacle that you could potentially run into, if you go at full speed, the laws of physics do apply. So if you can see here, if I press up on the right stick and it goes at full speed, when it hits the end of that path, it's going to keep going because it takes time to stop that aircraft. So you don't want to draw up to an object that you could potentially run into, and if you do, you will run into it if you're at high speed. So just be careful there. Then you heard some beeping, and that was just the aircraft going into return to home mode. I pressed the H button on the controller and it stopped that. Additionally, if I were to have pressed start over, it would have stopped that. The aircraft will stop and just hover where it is. So one of the other things I want to let you know is there is the save button. So if we hit save path, it's going to automatically save that. And what it does is it saves that path as with the time and date as the name. So if I hit start over and go to my flights, you'll see that I have a series of saved paths. And I can edit this and I can rename this. And now if I click that and load it, that same path is loading up. Now you'll notice it looks slightly different. And that's because it always starts a path at the exact spot the drone is at. So the first waypoint is to take you to the start of, the first waypoint is to take you to the altitude that you set and the start of the path. So if I press done here, I can update the point of interest if I choose to, or just press done, and I can update the speed and altitude if I choose to. You'll notice it defaulted to the speed that we used during that path when we saved it. So if I wanted to fly the exact same path over again, I can do that. I'm gonna hit start over, and I'm gonna draw a quick flight. And what I'm not gonna do is drop a point of interest. I'm not gonna do that. Just the altitude. It's gonna upload. Now what happens if I do it this way is the drone's not gonna yaw pointing at a point of interest as it has in the previous flight. What it's going to do is it's going to constantly point forward throughout the flight. What I can do during this is I can actually yaw the aircraft, and I know you can't see it because I'm connected to the simulator, but if I turn the yaw stick on the RC, you can see a little bit of the gimbal moving. It will actually follow that, allow me to have manual control over the yaw, and I have manual control over the pitch of the gimbal. Start over to stop that. And the last thing I want to show you is you can see at the bottom the estimated path distance. So as I continue to draw here, it's going to estimate that path. So I can draw a really long path, and you'll see that it was almost a mile of flight there. So if I were to fly this, you know exactly how long the distance of the flight is going to be. You can start to estimate some of your battery. At 45% or at 56% drone battery, I definitely would not fly this path. And so there you have it. This is the just a quick walkthrough of path. I'm going to redo this video as the weather starts to turn here where I'm at so that you can see it with some actual flying and some of the results. But again, at the bottom now you'll see a link to our shot with AirNest video, and in this video you're going to see footage that was shot using the AirNest app, but we didn't shoot any of it. It was all shot with by our users using AirNest, so you can kind of see some of the stuff that they're doing with it. So I hope you have a great day, and shoot us any questions at support@airnest.com as you have them, and we'll try to answer you as quickly as possible. Thanks.